Alright, so here it is, Saturday. Friday night I kind of messed up my knee a little bit and actually withdrew from the Bass Nation tournament. So I guess you could say I'm still retired. But they blasted off about an hour ago, and I decided to come out here and see if I can do anything. Hobble around a little bit by myself, maybe get a little footage, and see what can happen. So let's see how this day goes. Hopefully not much pain. Alright, so here we are, Dale Hollow again, midday on Saturday. Like I said, I pulled out of the tournament, but went ahead and went out on my own today. It's been an okay day. Definitely had two keepers, maybe three. The two keepers were 3 and 3.5 pounds. You'll see those on the video. One on a Ned rig, one on a jackhammer, and caught one of my fish on a jig, and then another one on a jackhammer. So it's like 1:45. We're gonna see what else we can get done. Hey y'all. So as I said before, yeah, I withdrew from the tournament. I had hurt my knee. Basically, we were staying on a houseboat, and I stepped from my boat to the houseboat, and kind of felt a small little pull in my knee, and it really didn't seem that bad at first. And then we were cooking some steaks on the upper deck, and I climbed that staircase, and on the way down, I really noticed it bother. And then we walked over to the meeting, and by the time I got over there, it was like, yeah, it was pretty painful. I didn't know what I was going to be able to do. So I talked to the people that were running the tournament, and turns out that they had more boaters than they needed. And the young man that would have been the guy that had to sit it out was there. And he was a really nice guy, and said, "Mister, you'd be really doing me a favor." So I said, I'd withdraw. And honestly, he was doing me a favor because, I kind of felt like I would be putting a co-angler at a disadvantage with me hobbling around. Not that I get around the boat well anyway, but I was even getting around worse. So I kind of felt bad if I'd had a co-angler. Now, if I'd had a couple people that were my good friends, we would have just taken it as an opportunity to go have a good time. But some of the other competitors, or some of the other co-anglers, are super competitive, and I didn't want to be the guy that ruined their chances or whatever else. So I withdrew from the tournament, and still went out and fished for a little while. And I didn't do great, but I didn't do bad. I caught 4 or 5 fish that day. Only a couple were on video. Again, I get excited and forget to turn it on, and also I'm still learning the GoPro process. The way it works, and how batteries, and how to replace batteries and memory cards and everything else. So you'll see I'm just getting the hang of that. So that's why I only got 2 or 3 on tape for you. But I did get a couple nice fish catches. Most of my fish today came on a jackhammer. And the 2 that are on video are definitely jackhammer and a jig. No, take that back. I had 1 fish on a jackhammer, kind of a white jackhammer, 3/8 ounce. One was on jig, one of the jigs that I make. And then the third one, believe it or not, I caught on a Ned rig. I was reeling the Ned rig up, and he hit it on the way in. And it was a good, fun fish. What you didn't get to see in that video is I go back to land the fish from the passenger seat, and I've got one of the save face masks to block the wind. That save face had a couple of shirts over top of it, and yeah, I sat on my save face. It is no more, so I'm going to need a new one of those. But still was able to get the fish in and show that to you. It was a good time. So I did go back to the weigh-in. I didn't feel comfortable videoing the weigh-in. There's a lot of people that maybe don't want their identities out there in the public or whatever, but I do have a little information for you. I know the Bass Nation tournament, and you can check the records coming up shortly, but the number 1 and number 2 places both had 19-pound bags. And second and third place had 17-pound bags. And then we're at a couple of 16-pound bags and a few 15-pound bags. So people were catching them pretty good, which really kind of gets under my skin a little bit because I totally missed the bush bite. My favorite thing in the world, to go flip bushes. And Joey and I on Friday had tried to catch some fish in bushes, but I guess we were in the wrong area or whatever. We didn't really catch any in bushes. Although on Friday footage, you can see I caught one on a jackhammer in between bushes. That should have told me to slow down and really pitch those bushes, which we actually did before that jackhammer fish. But we just couldn't get anything going in those bushes. And, a lot of the guys that were in the top of the tournament were flipping jigs in bushes. And, man, I really wished I'd have gone down there the following week because the weather trend would have really pushed them up in those bushes even more. And like I said, that's my favorite thing to do. Hopefully I can get down to Kentucky Lake and get on that bush bite. But, we still had a lot of fun. There were a lot of fish, caught a lot of different ways. Like I said, a lot of the guys were catching them in the bushes, flipping jigs. One guy I talked to was throwing a little swim bait. Another guy that I know was throwing an Alabama rig off docks. So fish were in a variety of stages, and man, they were catching them pretty good. So, you know, as far as the knee goes, on Saturday, tournament day, it wasn't quite as bad. I was still hobbled a little bit. Now, since I've gotten home, yeah, I did something to aggravate it just the other day. So we'll see how that goes. But hopefully we're going to have some more trips coming up soon, get some more fishing video. I'm real excited that they've opened up one of the small lakes around here again, where we can hopefully get down and get you some good footage. So until then, have a good time. Stay tuned. I've got a lot of good information for you, a lot of good video, and it should be fun. So anyway, next time, see you on the water.